Welcome to Collab Not Multiplayer. I'm Honeyshuckleex.
I'm Sackbot Barbecue.
And I'm Giggleklutz.
Today we're going to be talking about the Frog Detective series.
Oh my goodness, Frog Detective.
He's a frog, and he's a detective. He's a frog detective.
Is crime real?
Today we're going to find out. Quick, stab me.
Wait, no.
Absolutely not. I am not doing that.
Is that a crime if you ask them to do it?
Maybe it is if I start saying, no, after the fact.
Okay,
So Shuckles had her caffeine. This has been, an interesting thing that's happening.
So, yeah, I want to quick mention that, we're not setting the tone for Frog Detective very good right now.
Well, okay, the goofiness applies.
The level of violence does not.
No. Oh gosh, no. Okay, so Frog Detective is 3 games, Frog Detective 1, 2, and 3. They do have subtitles. I'm not going to try and pull from my memory right this second. They're available at least on Steam. I didn't check other platforms. They're developed by Grace Bruxner, Thomas Bauer, okay.
I think.
Okay, and published by the Worm Club. Oh yeah, and first, for a review, instant review is thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up. Out of, pretty much everything we've played as, family game night, collab not multiplayer, this trilogy here is probably the single most easy to recommend thing.
Yeah, it's recommended for, all ages. It's recommended to play together. It would still be fun to play by yourself. Don't expect, challenging puzzles or anything like that. These are incredibly family, kid-friendly, but that doesn't make them not worth the experience.
It's very important to have kids' media that is good.
And not strictly trying to be kid level rather than, community level. And I think that that's where this fits, is, this is not dumbed down for kids, but it also is, only delves into themes and things that are fine for kids to be exposed to. It's not trying to be edgy. It's not trying to be simple. It's playing with all kinds of stuff. It is so much fun. It was so much fun to voice act this.
Yeah, we started playing this series right after, a long spell of games we weren't really enjoying. I'm not gonna name any names. If you know, you know.
Which, yeah, we don't love everything we try and play.
The ones that we don't like, we typically don't talk about. There's, an exception to this, but...
We're talking about Frog Detective now, which we love. We love the Frog Detective series, so it's yeah.
No need for exceptions here.
Exactly. And this episode is going to be spoiler light at worst. No spoilers at all. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have deep themes that we're going to need to talk about. We're not going to need to tell you all that stuff.
We don't need to talk about how Frog Detective is actually struggling with his family life.
Yeah, we don't need to make stuff like that up.
No, we don't.
We could for fun, but that'll be a different project rather than this one. I'm up for fun. Anyway, yeah, so Frog Detective, one thing I really like about this series is that each chapter is an independent game. 1, 2, and 3 are all very complete projects in their own right, but they have an overarching world that they live in and a kind of an overarching story that they all fit in as a part of. So I do recommend you play them in order, and I do recommend you play them all.
You can get them all for $15. There's a bundle.
Yeah, and that's not on sale. That's just how much they cost. These are not expensive games, and they don't take a ton of your time, but oh my gosh. Then the fun builds, too. There's a different kind of fun in the first one than the second one, and then the third one. I can't wait to talk about the third one, but let's start at the beginning.
That's Frog Detective and the Haunted Island.
Ooh.
Case of the Haunted Island. Semantics.
Frog Detective and Ghost Island.
Yeah, exactly. It's so we didn't do our, it was we did our homework by playing the game, but we did that quite a while ago, which is why we're at this right now. So it'll be easier for me not to spoil because it was a while ago. I have the feelings and the impressions of the games more than the details at this point.
Yeah, but how the gameplay for this works is you end up in a place and you start interviewing people, questioning them, trying to figure out the case at hand, and in order to help you, they need things. So
it's a 3-dimensional puzzle quest game, reminiscent of point and click. I mean, all of them are. That's the structure of all of them, the mechanics of all of them.
So it's like, yeah, sure, on paper, a game that gameplay consists basically just of fetch quests doesn't sound very appealing, but it's what drives you going around and talking to and interacting with the characters, so...
Yeah, it's super character-driven for something so simple.
Uh-huh.
And every character is not just an NPC. I mean, they have personality. Every single one of them has personality, and that's part of why it was so much fun to family voice act, because you'd choose a voice before you knew who you were giving that voice to, and
sometimes you get to really humorous results.
Yeah, but the fact that this is rich enough, just in the silly dialogue, the dialogue is hilarious. Even without jokes, I mean, there are jokes, but even before you get to the jokes, just the juxtaposition of these different characters existing in the same world is just hilarity ensues. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say that all of them end in a dance party, which... because it's just, I'll give you the anticipation, because that's some of my favorite shit in the whole thing, is the dance parties.
Yeah, it's good. That's real good shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the first one is about finding a ghost. Great. And then there's a main thing in most of them that just will stand out, that I will not spoil, that is just, it's the point where you realize how much of a jokester these guys are making this game.
Okay, to touch on it without really necessarily spoiling stuff, I mean, unless we're not even on the same page here, but Frog Detective is just as fallible of a person as the rest of us.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. It's sometimes Frog Detective, well, he's a detective and he's in charge. It's not like Sherlock Holmes. He does not know everything. He makes mistakes. He gets things wrong.
And when he does, it's so funny.
Yeah, and it's just... It is all lighthearted. You're allowed to make mistakes in this world. It's a running gag where he says that crime isn't real. And they even call him out for it in the beginning of the third one, I believe, where it's like, what do you mean crime isn't real? The name of your detective agency is Frog Detective Crime Agency.
Crime-solving agency.
Crime-solving agency. It's like, why did you put that in there? Crime isn't real. And, it's like, so there's that kind of stuff going on, and if you like that kind of joke, this whole series is for you. You're just gonna have a really good time. My quick take on them is, I like the first one, and then the second one is a little on me because it's so linear.
Yeah, basically you need to find a whole bunch of one thing, and then what you get from finding all those things just cascades down a chain, and it's cool.
It sounds like they were reacting to somebody complaining about, I didn't like having too many items in my inventory and I didn't know where they go, so instead they only give you one choice at a time, so you're only allowed to solve one puzzle at a time. And maybe because we're adults, that hit us wrong. Maybe that was, accommodating kids more. I don't know. But what they did in the third one is they added a scooter. And I love the scooter. And the music is so great. And you're scooting around. And Frog Detective is this very simplistic, three-dimensional kind of polygon stuff happening. But to have that go by at speed, I don't know, there's just something... I'm smiling, I'm grinning from ear to ear. I just loved scooting Frog Detective around on the little mesa plateaus and stuff.
Yeah, well, I was not driving for, Frog Detective 3, so I've only seen how the scooter handles. It looks like just really well implemented for, just a game suddenly having vehicle gameplay.
And coming from me, if I can make it look cool, it's cool.
Yeah.
Not Giggleclicks by accident.
This is a tried and true handle. Just like the handles on this scooter!
Anyway, these are really fun, lighthearted games that will tell jokes that kind of make fun of the characters a little bit, that make you feel a little bit more gentle about yourself. I love that about it. If you're playing it with little kids, you might want to talk about how Frog Detective might be being a little dumb.
There's a lot of conversational openings here where it's just because a figure is a trusted figure doesn't mean they're always right. Sometimes it's the people you rely on the most that end up being, the most wrong when they are wrong. Yeah.
At the same time, the dynamic between Frog Detective and Lobster Cop...
Oh, God.
Because Lobster Cop is the number one detective. and Frog Detective is number 2. And that rivalry does not play out how you might expect, because Frog Detective is also Lobster Cop's number 1 fan.
It's weird. Like,
it's weird in a way that just makes me smile. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to be friends with Frog Detective so bad.
It's like, yeah, it's just guy's the second best detective, and he's totally cool about it.
Like, way more cool than I would ever be.
Especially given some of Lobster Cop's attitude.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, sometimes it's like, yeah, the medal that hurts the most to have is the silver one. Not for Frog Detective.
Not at all. Yeah, so if you have never checked these out, please do. We really, really like them. I don't know. It's hard to say much more without spoiling them. We want to give you encouragement and excitement about the Frog Detective series.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, anything I can, like, say at all without, like, spoiling some of the jokes, and it's, like, really, really hard, because most of the jokes are, like, the thing about this game. It's not like there was, like, oh, this puzzle was hard to solve, or look at this interesting thing over here. No, it's, like, it's the jokes, and if I tell you the jokes, you can't experience the joke for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. It's funnier when Frog Detective says it. In whatever voice you give Frog Detective.
Because, like, that's the thing. Voice acting this game, right? Like, we touched on it a little bit before, but, like, because of how you don't know what these characters are going to be like, you start voicing them, and then just wild stuff happens, and you just have to roll with it. It makes it such a good game to play with other people. I don't know if we stated that enough.
Yeah. It's weird to think of Frog Detective as a party game. But there are some games that are really hard to play together. This one was such a joy. I would look forward to playing this again with people who don't know what Frog Detective is. I mean, like, I can sit on my hands and not laugh before the joke is stated in order to let people hear the joke again. And by the way, my Frog Detective is, "Hi, I'm Frog Detective." And
Wowee, Frog Detective.
we're here to solve a mystery.
Oh, golly.
But yeah, as Shuckle has informed me that my Frog Detective is not like anybody else's Frog Detective. So.
No. You lean really hard into the detective part, and some other people, I either do their normal voice, because when you're a streamer, you make the protagonist sound a little bit off from you, but not much, because you're going to be voicing them a lot. That's typically, like, the rule of thumb. But when they do lean into it, some of them lean into it in a frog kind of way, and it's like...
It'd be hard for me to turn this voice into a frog. Unless you already imagine them as one. Anyway.
I mean, there's a bit of croak in it.
A bit. Yeah. Ribbit.
A bit.
But anyway, yes, if you have been reading stories to little kids for a very long time or are practicing your voice acting, this might be a fun thing for you to practice too. I never thought about it like that, but sure.
There's a lot of different characters with a lot of different...
Very different personalities. It's like...
and misunderstandings of the world.
To hilarious consequences, yes. So, yeah, I'm just smiling. And just imagine us smiling. We have such affection for Frog Detective. Thank you, Radishley, for recommending this and introducing us to Frog Detective, because it always looked a little childish to me. I wasn't really into that.
Yeah, like, I thought there's times when we're playing games together where I've seen the game before, and... sometimes that gets in the way of us actually playing it seamlessly with one another. Did not happen with this one. Did not happen with the first game in the series. We were just having so much fun.
Oh, you'd seen that before?
Oh, yeah, and I tried to tell you guys. But, like, just, yeah, there's enough fun to voice act, and, like, the plot doesn't necessarily, like, impact what you're doing. It's not like you're trying to...
Well, you can't avoid it. Choices don't matter. You know, they're all linear. It's just you don't necessarily have to solve the puzzles in order in two of them.
Yeah, you know, this is not like... You know, a lot of games about being a detective try to really, you know, make gameplay about being a detective, and...
I mean, yeah, it'd be very different if it was, like, Phoenix Wright.
Quizzical eyebrows. I don't know who Phoenix Wright is.
Okay, that's part of, like, that's the main character of the Ace Attorney games, so you, like, yeah, you're a defense attorney trying to prove your client innocent in murder.
Ah.
Side note, those games are also incredibly unhinged.
Yeah, well, I can definitely, I can believe an audience overlap here, but I would not just recommend.
No.
Thank you for the caveat. That's good information to have.
I wouldn't say to either one, if you're a fan of one, you'll like the other. I do not guarantee that.
You might, sure, but
I haven't played an Ace Attorney game, so I can't say.
But even so, just in tone alone, I bet, yeah. The look on Sackbot's face right now, I
know just enough about Ace Attorney to say that with confidence.
So anyway, if you have nieces or nephews you want to keep busy this holiday season or whatever, maybe pick up Frog Detective and be giggling away in the back room when you don't want to watch football.
Oh yeah, this is a great alternative to football.
Well, no shade on people who like football, but for those of us who are not into it, it can be really isolating to figure out what to do. I would recommend this. I totally would. Anyway.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your holiday season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And play Frog Detective.
And play Frog Detective.
So this has been Collab Now Multiplayer. I'm Giggleklutz.
I'm Honeyshuckleex.
And I'm Sackbot Barbecue.